Hey everybody, Tuesday tips are finally back. I know you only waited like a year or better in order to finally get these done, but here we are, we're gonna do Tuesday tips. So here's how it's gonna go. Every Tuesday, right around the noon hour, I'm gonna come on and do a live video. We're gonna post it on Facebook, we're gonna post it on our website, we're gonna post it on YouTube, and if you're not a subscriber to our YouTube channel, please hit subscribe and put the link down. We're going to give you helpful stuff. Now, I always got to do a disclaimer. I'm not your lawyer just because you watch this, and I'm only licensed in the state of Illinois. So please only take this as information like you would get off Google, only explained a lot better, and it does not create an attorney-client relationship. So you get into a wreck and you're injured, and one of the first questions that everybody has is, who's going to pay for my medical bills? How are my medical bills going to get taken care of? Well, your instinct is that if another vehicle is negligent, if they run a stop sign, if they cross a center lane, if they do something they're not supposed to do and strike you and you're injured, your initial reaction is, well, they should pay for my medical bills. And that makes sense, right? They caused the injury, they should pay for your medical bills. Well, there's two big problems with that. Number one, when you have a vehicle, you have multiple insurance policies tied together in one vehicle. And if you stay for next week we'll go through how that works so that you can all take a look at your insurance policies. But one of those policies is called MedPay. You have MedPay coverage on your car. And MedPay coverage deals with medical bills associated to anybody in relation to that vehicle. It doesn't matter how they happen. Problem is that coverage is usually pretty small. It's usually like $5,000, $10,000. The biggest I've seen is like country companies might have a $25,000 or a $50,000 policy, which is great if you've got that and you can get it. So if you turn your medical bills over to the other company, they're going to pay about $5,000 or $10,000, and then they're going to quit paying because their MedPay is going to be exhausted. It's going to be spent up. And now you're over in the liability section of the policy, which they're not going to pay anything till the end. So the challenge that you have there is if your medical bills are sitting there, especially if you're on Medicare, Medicaid, anything like that, then those bills aren't going to get paid. They're going to get turned into collection. They're going to impact your credit. And if they go for longer than a year, you're not going to be able to turn them into your own health insurance. If you get into a wreck in the state of Illinois and you don't have health insurance, you can apply for the state of Illinois insurance and they will pay for your medical bills retroactively. If you do not have health insurance, you get into a wreck, this is a really good idea because here's the reality. Get into a wreck, somebody else's fault, you have medical bills. You want your health insurance to pay for those medical bills because it'll actually put more money in your pocket. Okay, well, how does that work? All right, well, I'm now going to teach you something that most lawyers don't know. First of all, the same service from a healthcare provider will have many different charges based upon whether or not you have insurance, the type of insurance, and also your location. If you're in Freeport or Rockford, Illinois, where my offices are, private pay billing is going to be different than it is in like Barrington. So let's say that you have a shoulder injury, very common in a car wreck that if you get T-boned, you put your arm out and you end up with a rotator cuff tear in your shoulder. So now they want to do an MRI. Okay, well, a typical MRI, if it's private pay, don't pay any attention to my spelling, that MRI is going to be about $4,500-ish. If it's private pay. That's in Freeport, Illinois, Rockford, Illinois. It could be even a little bit higher, right? Tiffany's here. She knows this even better than I do. Now, let's say you have Blue Cross Blue Shield, okay? Now, health insurance companies get a negotiated rate against your bills that you have. So, in that negotiated rate is either with an entire state or it's with an entire division. If you've ever been employed by a company out of state, you've probably run into the fact that your health insurance might not cover in certain chains of hospitals because they don't have a contract with that chain of hospitals, and you got to go to a covered provider in order for your health insurance to pay? Well, the reason is because they haven't negotiated a discount rate with that particular provider. So let's say this same MRI of your shoulder for Blue Cross Blue Shield is going to be about $1,600. And then let's say you're on Medicare or Medicaid. So Medicare or Medicaid, it's going to be around $800. So it's the exact same test, but it's going to be 3 completely different costs depending upon what your health insurance is. So here's the thing. If you bill the other side's insurance, they're going to bill it at the private pay number. So if your medical bills are like $50,000, what Blue Cross Blue Shield would pay that would be about $20,000 and not the $50,000. If they bill the $50,000, that's what they're going to take against the liability portion of your case. So what do I mean by that? Well, every car insurance has an amount that you've contracted for to cover liability